I'm very pleased to be here. I'm actually a little child myself, so I'm very naive and very innovative and creative myself. And I really want to take the next sort of 5 minutes to tell you 4 little stories on how I think I use my creativity and my sort of playfulness in my private life and my personal life. And I think, as Omar just said, I think we have a lot of amazing people in the room, and I've seen a couple of things that the other speakers will actually talk about. So there's a whole lot of ideas on how you can open up your imagination, you can sort of stimulate your brain and also sort of be very, very creative. Can I get that?
How it works.
Excellent. So my first story is actually about a conversation that I had with a ballet instructor just on Sunday when I was flying back to Los Angeles. And usually I'm very unlucky when I do overseas flights because I usually sit next to proctologists, so you can imagine how those sort of conversations go down. So sitting next to a ballet instructor was actually pretty interesting, and I told her that I was going to do this speech and how she sort of involves playfulness in her job. And what she and I sort of felt and had in common was that we found that in those fast-paced times that we live in at the moment, everything is very serious, everything is very complex. So what she tries to have her performers do is actually sort of break the cycle and sort of get them in a totally different environment, get them out of the context that they're currently in, get those busy minds away, and sort of just have them bring emotion into the sort of moment that they live in. And she's trying that, and she's actually trying that very hard with men, because for everyone who's in a relationship probably can sort of agree that men are really sort of having trouble communicating, articulating themselves, and they say it's pretty much too serious for them. And she really tries to break that vicious cycle and get them out of the context, get them away from creating. And what she tries to do is actually help them deconstruct whatever they're doing. So sometimes to create, you can actually be very, very busy and very, very serious in your own mind. So you actually need to deconstruct first before you can create something else. And the next story that I have is actually about, I guess, a company that does playing really, really well. It's called Lego, and I'm sure many of you have heard Lego. It's built, or it was founded 50 years ago by a guy in Denmark, and it pretty much means play well. And I'm fortunate enough in sort of my professional life that I'm looking after products that help Lego sort of work on the customer experiences. That's very, very exciting. So what our company sort of helped Lego to do is actually work with the customers and the consumers of Lego, which is, as you can imagine, pretty hard, because the customers of Lego are not necessarily the users of that. So it's the moms and dads and the grandparents that actually purchase the product, but it's the children who actually play that. So the products that I sort of look after actually help Lego to build a whole 360-degree customer view and sort of look after both customers from the perspective of actually how do we create a loyalty management platform around sort of I guess the parents, the grandparents and everything, but how also can we engage the creativity from the end users. So what they pretty much came up with is this pyramid of 4 levels. The first sort of top level is really about having the children co-create and co-innovate with them. And secondly, it's also about how you can sort of create a constant dialogue with everyone who's involved. So that's the second layer. The third layer is really about just having a community of people who are excited and engaged about Lego. And the third level is just about the household layer, where you may have purchased Lego products to begin with, but you're not sort of using that. And the strategy of Lego is really about driving everybody up the chain. The other story that I want to tell you about is the company that I sort of worked on, and it's really about creating a whole totally different new society. And as I said at the beginning, we really want to take the stress out, take the seriousness out. So what my company is doing is actually we are decelerating messaging. So what that means is we found a way and build a platform on how we can sort of create interactive journeys and have people take part in journeys and experiences using our iPhone app and our sort of web experience. And the other thing is of sort of how we can break the cycle and how I'm sort of doing that in my private life. I'm actually taking part in the Mongol Rally, and if you haven't heard of that, that's actually a pretty cool race, which is pretty much taking a granny car with like only a small engine and pretty much driving from London to Mongolia in about 4 to 5 weeks. So that's sort of how I take my mind off, and how I really sort of, I guess, become creative and be a child again and sort of engage into games. And my time is already up, so thanks for that.